Yeah.
Okay, welcome to Meet the Boss Junior. So today I'm speaking with you, James Fritter. So I'm CEO of Oneview, right?
That's correct, Liam.
So first question, you might know I love cars. What's your favorite car?
Now, that's a good question. So my favorite car was my first car, which was a 1967 Mini that I bought with my brother for $800. And it was a really fun car to drive. So that's still my favorite car.
Okay, I want to hear all about your company, but first tell me your story. How did you get to be a CEO?
That's a very good question. And as often happens in life, it happened totally randomly. So my wife is Irish and we met in New York, and she asked me to move back to Ireland in 2010. And Ireland was going through a really tough time because there'd been a global financial crisis. And I used to work in finance, so I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do. But I have triplets, and we were invited to a dinner party by this friend of ours who had twins. And it turns out the guy who invited me to the dinner party was a guy called Mark McCluskey, who was the founder of Oneview Healthcare. And he said to me, James, are you an Aussie? I said, yeah, I am. And he said, what do you do? I said, I work in finance. And he said, great. He said, we need to talk. And I said, why is that? He said, well, I just got back from Melbourne and I've just won a big contract with a hospital in Melbourne and they won't sign the contract. And I said, why is that? And he said, because my finances aren't in very good shape. So I need someone like you to come in and help me get my balance sheet sorted out. So I said, well, that sounds like a pretty interesting opportunity. I said, what's your company do? And he said, patient engagement. And I said, I've never heard of patient engagement. So he said, don't worry. He said, why don't you come in on Monday and we'll give you a demo of the product. So I went into his office on Monday and the guys gave me a demo of the product and I just thought it was a fantastic solution. And he asked me to join as his CEO the next week. So it was purely random.
Okay, so tell me about your company. What is your product and who are your customers?
Okay, so the company is called Oneview Healthcare. And our product is what we're trying to do, Liam, is we're really at the intersection of where consumerism and healthcare collide. So I'm guessing you like tablets. Do you have an iPad or something like that?
Yeah, I prefer computers.
Okay, well, that's cool. So what we do, Liam, is we put a little computer, a mini computer behind the television in the patient's room, and we put a tablet by their bedside. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to give the patient information that's going to get them home safer, faster, better informed, and less likely to have to come back to hospital. So we get from the hospital, we get an electronic medical record, which tells us who's the patient in the room, what's their primary language, what are they in hospital for, and we give them specific educational content to try and get them home safer and faster and know what's happening to them. And we also do some cool stuff like when the nurse walks into the room, we put the name of the nurse up on the television so that the patient know who's caring for them. So it's pretty cool. And our customers are hospitals in Australia, in America, in the Middle East, and in Thailand. So we're all over the world in about 75 different hospitals.
Wow. So what do you love most about your job?
What I love most about our job is the impact the technology has on our patients, because when you go and particularly, we do a lot of work in children's hospitals, and it's just great to see, kids who are going through a really difficult time. If they're in hospital, it's because they're sick, and just to see the joy of them having technology at the bedside, which helps them understand what's going to happen to them while they're there, and kind of demystifies their experience for them and gives them the tools to get home hopefully faster than they would otherwise. So we just love the impact it has on patients when they're at a really difficult time.
Okay, so what's the hardest thing about your job?
The hardest thing about our job is getting hospitals to sign contracts because hospitals they're very conservative and they're very slow moving. So, and our platform's very broad. It integrates with lots of different parts of the hospital. So there's lots of people in the hospital have to agree to deploy Oneview. And I just wish they would move a little bit faster, because I think we all think it's a fantastic product, but hospitals are a little bit slow to make decisions because they're their primary focus is they always think about what can go wrong, not what can go right. So they're always looking for things that can go wrong. So, but I think we've been able to prove that we can make a really positive difference. So hopefully we're going to put that little problem behind us soon.
I think the hospitals should look at like what's going right and what's going wrong.
I think you're absolutely right. No, it's really important they look at what's going wrong, but they need to embrace digital transformation. They need to get a bit more technology into the system.
So what's one piece of advice for me as I think about starting my own company?
Well, I think the most important thing is to make sure you're doing something you love, right? We all work incredibly hard. We work long hours. We travel all over the world. But every morning I wake up and I think about how much I love what I do, and that's really important. So I just make sure it's something you're really passionate about. Sounds like you're really passionate about cars. So try and find a job that you're really passionate about as well.
I'm making cars.
That's great. That's great.
And I'm also gonna have like associations and like work together with Porsche too.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. That sounds very exciting.
So it looks like this is the end. Bye. Thank you so much for all of this.
You're very welcome. Thanks for your time, Liam.